capitalism is dead, and technological companies killed it. I came across a book recently written by Yuris Yorofaki, in which he was purporting the death of capitalism and the rise of what he termed techno-feudalism. And techno-feudalism is the present economy in which we live in, where the market and the owners of the means of production are being controlled by feudal lords who own the platforms that host the current marketplace. What do I mean by that? Recently, we have noticed that 90% of the world's transaction and trade are done on platforms like Facebook, Amazon, and Alibaba, just to name a few. And payment systems have been centralized to PayPal, Visa, and other fintech technologies that the market or the astuces that contributed to capitalism no longer hold place, which included a free market where exchange was done freely by the seller and the buyer, and the seller could determine the prices, and the buyer could see if those prices fit what they had in mind. They would consume those prices. But then when we have platforms that have massive algorithms that prioritize, that push forth products to you that are not necessarily the optimum product for you, but for them or what fits their system, it becomes a problem. And these feudal lords, the owners of these platforms, they charge up to sometimes 40% of each of transaction fees that occur on their platforms. We have platforms like Apple Pay that charge a massive transaction fee on all payments that are done on iPhone. And considering the number of people that use the iPhone, we notice that this becomes a problem, because those who own the means of production, like the manufacturers, are no longer in control of the price, but those who own the platforms. And then the buyer contributes data freely to these platforms that help to build the platforms even more, creating a wide gap between those that own these platforms and the common person. And this has created a huge problem, a problem that we didn't face during capitalism, because during pure capitalism, we didn't have the amount of gap that we have between the rich and the poor. Like, you see people like Elon Musk owning $300 billion, while the average person earns, say, $20,000 a year. And it's problematic in that these megamoths of companies now control what you buy, who can sell, who has an opinion on what you can sell, who can pay, and all. And I was just rambling all this to come back to Africa and to ask, is the African community ready for the new feudalist economy, or techno-feudalist economy, as coined by Yanis? And how are the Africans preparing to protect their citizens from feeding these algorithms with their data freely? How are the governments regulating the power of these platforms on their local elections? How is the government regulating these platforms when it comes to them controlling the prices of goods and services, access to capital, access to the market? And it's a big question that gets me thinking. And each time I get to think, I'll come on here and share my thoughts